Welcome back to Making Video Your Business. This week in the hot seat is an industry friend of mine and ours, the business, but Alice Bullard. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. Alice runs a business called Nested, and rather than me trying to over-explain what it is, Alice, what is Nested? What does it do? I see you online a lot, and you've just moved into some cool, kick-ass new offices, right?
Yeah, we do. They are special. Yeah, so Nested, a self-employed platform for the best agents to run their businesses through effectively, earn more commission than they do on the high street, have autonomy, and get to work with other cool, like-minded people.
How did you start the business? Was it just you? Was it funding? Was it like some friends that had an idea? How did it all kick off?
So Nested was actually founded in 2015 by three people, and Matt, James, and Phil. So not myself, but I joined very, very, very early on. So way back at the beginning almost. Nested was set up initially to be a chain breaker. We would give people the funding, almost like a bridging loan, to buy their onward purchase whilst we sold their property.
Okay.
And when their property sold, we would give them full proceeds minus the Nested fees.
Sure.
If it sold for less than what we'd given them, Nested sucks up that loss. To answer your question, it's really difficult to value properties 6, 7, 8 months in advance of when they're actually going to sell.
Yeah. Your crystal ball and
yeah, exactly. So it didn't quite work out, and luckily we actually stopped that product several months before COVID hit.
Right.
But because we'd had a lot of investors invest in the business, they wanted us to plow a lot of that money into the technology.
Right. Okay.
So we built a fantastic internal CRM called The Nest.
Nice.
And it's really nice. And it links with a seller app for sellers to be able to see full transparency what's happening with their sale throughout the whole transaction. So technology is really expensive to build, as I'm sure a lot of people know.
Well, a lot of it fails and flops probably, right?
Yeah, but it's also, engineers are very expensive. So look, to actually get where we are today as a business, we've invested a lot of that funding into the technology. And when we looked at this, coming out of COVID and looking at some of the American players that were coming over to the UK and doing very well in the self-employed model space over here, and there was a little bit of
like your EXPs.
Yeah, exactly. And we thought, hold on a second, this really aligns with our values, because we want to give customers the best experience they possibly can have. We've done that by building some fantastic tech, but how do we scale to all 4 parts of the UK?
Sure.
So we thought, well, it's good for us because we can do that quite quickly, in a self-employed role and capacity, rather than employing lots of people across the country. It's really good for customers because they get one person throughout their transaction. It's really good for agents because they get to earn way more commission and have the autonomy to run their business. So it just aligns. So in February of last year, that was when we launched the 75-25% partnership.
Oh, so that's fairly recent then.
Package, February last year. And we said, look, this is the model, this is what we're doing. We moved we had a lot of agents that were employed at the time. We moved all to fully self-employed at that stage, and just thought, this is what we want to do, this is what we believe in. And we've now got around 45 territories filled. In some of those territories there's more than one agent.
Is there an end goal or a sort of a number or sort of size that you might be working to? Is that strategy wise?
Yeah, so interestingly, no, we've got some goals in the next 5, 6, 7 months, 12 months. We have got one goal, which is not numbers based, which is basically we want to be the best self-employed platform for the best agents.
Great mission statement.
That is our mission. Like, I would love for the best agents to go, my first choice is Nested. That's who I want to partner with. How big we get in the future, look, I'd love to be the biggest, but the aim's not to be the biggest. The aim is to be the best.
Because then you keep hold of that, like you were saying before, that transparency, the customer service element to it, because one guy come round to value or to do a viewing, and then it get passed on to a sales progressor, and then someone else might ring you from a conveyancing company, and whereas I guess you get those additional calls, but it's very much one point of contact with you guys. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the way So there's two points on that. I think the first one is that when you look at traditional estate agency, and look, this is not by any means the whole of the high street estate agency market, but when you actually look at the progression within that company, one of the most senior people in the office goes and values the property and goes and sits and win the business. They then hand it over to the most junior person in the office to actually get the property under offer and sold. I think that is the most like crucial part really of the transaction, is to, when you want to get the best price for the client, having the most junior person, sometimes even a viewing assistant that doesn't really have that experience, going to actually conduct the viewing and having that initial conversation and selling that home, that feels a little bit backwards to me. And I think that's where it's really cool in the self-employed model space, that's what we're basically changing, right?
Yeah. I was watching a couple of bits on your LinkedIn the other day, and you were chatting to Simon Gates. You were talking about personal branding and faces and names on boards, and how you'd maybe had an opinion and then it's slightly changing with the way the business is changing. So visuals for you, like, where do you come at that from a business front? Like, do you do regular video content? Is it Friday's filming day? Is it like you get your sort of staff and colleagues to have an in-house competition, see who's getting the best reach or engagement? How do you sort of deal with social media and videos?
So the Simon Gates one was funny because that's when I just had I guess I didn't have necessarily a change of heart, but it's that point that you're making about knowing when, if you've had an opinion up to a certain point, maybe the opinion is, I don't want to do video's not going to work in my area. And then you see someone else doing it and you then start thinking it works. That's okay. Like, you can change your mind and you can adopt it. Like, you can adopt it as soon as you realize that. And the board example was one where I was like, faces on boards, I think they can look a bit cheap and tacky. And that was my opinion, and I'm not afraid to say it was. But then I started realizing actually the power it can have when it's done well. And I think that's, and you know, we allow now agents to have a choice. They can use the nested board or they can have their own picture on a board. You know, I do like to have sign off on it to make sure it looks professional.
Of course. It's your baby in effect, isn't it? How do your potential nested guys find you? Like, obviously you're online, but is it something that you like have recruitment days for? Is it, you know, do you like rely on word of mouth?
The really good thing is that we are, every single day when I look at those metrics of number of people contacting nested, it's growing. So the word of mouth is definitely working, but we use a number of different channels, but the biggest one for us is and the most effective one is referrals. We don't offer revenue share within the business, but our agents do go out and refer organically agents to nested, because they know that what we're saying is actually true.
They've experienced the power of it.
Exactly. You know, culture, the thing I'm really conscious of as we build is making sure that we continue with the amazing culture that we have at Nested, making sure that we're bringing on people that are aligned with our values. And I think that giving those agents the support, when I say I give support to agents and we've got a fantastic team of individuals that help them grow the business, we really mean it. And I think that's why it's so powerful having agents that are going out, not incentivized by the pound, that are actually saying to their mates in the industry, like, I'm actually getting great support and I'm actually really enjoying it, Nested, and I'm being successful. Have a chat with the Nested
because
team.
they must have previously worked with people that are still in agency or like corporate structures, and actually saying, honestly, look, this is what my bank balance looks like. This is my work-life balance.
Yeah, it's my work-life balance.
I get to do the school run, or I get to finish early on a Friday and do whatever. And they've proven that, and then that's an easy recommendation, isn't it?
Exactly. And for those people that come through, so I have been doing a lot more social media posts. I have been saying yes before I have the ability to say no in my head. Like, when someone asks me to do something, I'm like, yeah, sure, no worries. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm a bit nervous about doing that.
Well, you then go and figure it out,
right?
Exactly.
Like pushing yourself out there. That's also been really working. And for people that don't know anyone at Nested at the moment, I just say to them, go on LinkedIn. I can introduce you to people, but just go on LinkedIn and reach out to anyone, because I'm confident that anyone that you speak to across Nested and our partners, they will be really complimentary of the support and everything that we do and the culture that we have. So just go out there and chat to anyone you want. I can put you in contact if you want, but that's kind of how I say it, because I know that what I'm saying I deliver on.
Do your already agents, whether it's 10 or 50 or whatever you've got, do they naturally end up talking to each other in a little bit of a community, WhatsApp groups, or sharing best practice?
Yeah, that is something that we're really big on and we really encourage. There's several ways that we do it. So first of all, through technology. So I don't know if you've heard of a company called Slack.
Oh yeah.
Slack.
I watched one of their adverts the other day, actually.
Honestly, Slack is the best.
Is it as good as they say on the internet?
It's so good. It's a really fantastic communication tool. It's basically WhatsApp for business, and it links everyone. So we've got different channels. Every single agent has their own channel. So for example, if they were based down in Islington, they'd be called Nested Islington and Nested Doncaster, Nested Glasgow, etc., etc. And they're in their channel, and then all of the HQ team are in their channel, and that's their private channel to just talk to us whenever they want. The other day, an agent that's just joined us, she used to work with another person that's doing very well on the platform, so again, another referral. She's just got her first 2 instructions, one of which was from a door knock, and someone kind of said, well done, like the power of door knocking, like
still exists.
People celebrate other people's successes, and you love to be surrounded by really good people that are doing well
and having glowing feedback from colleagues. Is there a caveat or a line in job description / contract when you take a new agent on that they must do some degree of social media visual presence? Like, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and like you said, some people are like, what do I need that for? I've been running a successful business for the last 30 years. And it's like, well, yes, so we're Blockbuster, right? But eventually you've got to get with the program or keep up with the times. Is that something that they're already motivated to do, or is it something that you can suggest and shoehorn into their new role, I suppose?
So no, it's definitely not in the contract, and there are other ways that aren't, you know, putting yourself in front of a camera and everything to generate leads. Up until that point of someone coming onto the Nested platform and deciding that they want to partner with us and we want to partner with them, we have quite a few dialogues and conversations. They meet Deanna, our marketing manager, to have that conversation about what their area looks like, the type of people they want to be going after, and actually coming up with a strategy plan. We always generally encourage several things, like getting yourself in front of the camera, social media, door knocking. We encourage that as well, because we know that it works.
It really does. I mean, I know a lot of agents have got views on it, but I know a lot of agents that it works for.
Oh, definitely. And door knocking is, I know this is obviously the making video business show, but
that's quite visual, turning up in person, right?
But door knocking is cheap because it's almost free, and it's basically you're targeting the hottest leads that are out there. But that also links up with videos as well, right? You can get a phone and you can record yourself. You can get some data stats online about what's happening in your market, and you can put that out on social media, and you can tag some local businesses in it, showing your personality, being your authentic self. I've got some really great examples of some of our agents who do it so well, where they'll make sure that they're being seen in the local community, but then add that kind of like professionalism, data stats, a bit about their market, becoming the trusted advisor on top of that.
An authoritative voice in their area. Estate agents and letting agents are really lucky in a way that unless you're a London-based agent, you deal with a lot of sort of maybe foreign investment and foreign buyers, the 95% of your actual market is in your postcode area, which is quite rare, not rare for a lot of businesses, but you know, we work from Edinburgh to Exeter, so we're all over the shop. But equally, working life would be super cool if we could just hang around in Grantham all the time. But obviously, there's not enough businesses to do that forever and a day.
And that's what's different, I guess, to the sort of the self-employed estate agency model space. And that's why I think territories are really effective and work really well. I've had some conversations with agents that have come to us and they want to cover 3 or 4 different counties, and it's like, that's just not going to work. You're completely fishing into an open ocean, and it's about starting small, granular, and growing out from there. And that's the thing that we gently encourage our agents to do, and to sort of start local, start small, and then don't start thinking about your strategy plan in 24 months time. There's literally no point in doing that,
because it's such a changing world,
and how things can change so different.
We were talking about some of the successes of agents you got on board. Has anyone turned it into a physical business where they've then started employing admin support staff, and is there any nested shops?
Yeah, there's no nested shops yet.
But that's a
But
possibility
there
they
is
could
one
do
there
that.
is one potentially in the pipeline. The opinion that I have about high street sort of presence is maybe not one that is particularly popular, but I think the high street and having a front shop, I think, is great for brand awareness. You know, people still do go to high street, people drive through it, etc., etc. That is one way to generate leads. But there again, coming back to what other channels there are, social media, our agents are getting leads from social media. We've got an agent that's got I think 40 or 50,000 followers on TikTok, and a lot of his clients come through TikTok because
the age has moved up. It used to be 10 to 14 was the demographic that used TikTok a few years ago, but now those 14-year-olds are now 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they're looking at buying their first property or renting.
Yeah. It is interesting. It's like my mum and dad, that still, like, Facebook is still their thing. Like, they love Facebook. Yes. They post on Facebook all the time. But they are actually now on Instagram.
Oh, amazing.
And I said to my dad the other day, I was like, you don't post anything on Instagram. He goes, oh, no, it's literally just to see what you're up to, Alice. I'm like, okay. But he's on the platform, and you know, he's in his 60s. So the people are starting to adopt. So, I am on TikTok now. I think I'm just slightly out of that generation that we're using it, but there are people that are starting to join it, and it's again, over the next couple of years, that's my strategy. It changes all the time.
Yeah, super powerful. I suppose in business, like that constant reflection and how do we do all right there? Actually, can we tweak this a little bit?
Standing back and looking at things, and the way that you're doing things, I think, can be very powerful. And it's exactly what I did 7 months ago when Chris called me and was like, Alice, why are you not doing video?
Right.
Chris Watkin called, why are you not doing video? Because I was just doing pictures, not video content.
Sure.
So I actually stood back for about 3 weeks. I thought about the conversation we had, and then I did my first one, and I was really nervous. I didn't like doing it at all, but you see the impact that it has, and then you start doing it, and it becomes a lot easier. But it is about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Had you not thought about video, or actually in the back of your head there's the little, caveman brain going, don't do that, you look silly?
I think it was a bit of both. I think, again, even starting to do it, I'm like, is this gonna work? Like, is it really gonna work? But okay, I'll give it a go. Now I can see it is really working.
And actually, like, there's so many ways to do video that, I mean, we all say this to agents, you can like or let them meet you on the screen, but it only has to be for a couple of seconds. You can cover yourself over with like stats and say local property market data and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be this 1 hour of me just on video boring people. It's not like that. You're looking for 45, 60-second videos that are just
like
connecting with the community.
Short, sharp, sweet. And I think the most important thing is being yourself. And I will leave in some bloopers sometimes.
Totally.
And I'll watch them back, and I'll be like, I said that wrong. I said that I've always been really honest about how I struggled when I was younger with my speech.
Oh, okay, right.
So I had speech issues. The reason why I got into drama and acting was because my mum and dad put me through some speech therapy sessions and speech and drama, and I'll switch saying sometimes. So I'll say things like, the early worm catches the bird, or something.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I'll switch it round, and it's like, but that's just me. I'm just, that's just my authentic self. And sometimes I'll keep stupid things in those videos, and just, just because that is who I am. And
with the new sort of rise of AI and AI videos, and there's some crazy platforms out there where they can take this podcast and say we've been filming for like nearly an hour or something, and they could take our voices and just, even with a photo of us, then recreate us in a deep fake style, which is, so my thing is the race for real.
For me, I guess in the business that I'm in, it is about trust. It's a large part about trust, because people are deciding to leave their paid jobs in the high street and starting their own business.
Leap of faith,
that is a big leap of faith. And I think for me, like, I'm basically saying, I'm your partner in this. I'm going to make sure that what I say, I hold myself accountable, and give you that the support that you need. And like, you're effectively partnering with me and the Nested team is what you're doing. So being able to become across your authentic self, people already know when I first have that conversation with them, like they kind of know me a little bit already, which is great. I'm not putting on an act. I am really ditzy sometimes. I do say things like the early worm catches the bird.
Start saying that.
Like,
we'll just make it
the early worm catches the bird. Yeah.
So Chris Watkin rang you and he was like, look, you need to do some more videos, some more visuals. You already said that you were a little bit nervous. You didn't realise that why you hadn't done it in the first place because you were posting photos. So you're fully on that journey now because I'm watching your videos, right? So, but top 3 tips for any agents or letting agents, estate agents, or anyone watching this, like that's thinking about that. I guess it's not fearful, just do it. But that leap of faith into, oh my God, what people judge me online? What would be your top 3 tips since you're a new recruit to that area, I guess?
Okay, top 3 tips. Firstly, be your authentic self. Don't feel like you need to copy someone else's personality. So yeah, be yourself. The second one, I'd say, do take inspiration on what other people are doing. But again, make it your own, but take inspiration of what you can see works.
Yeah, because the best in class, right? Certain people are getting certain engagement numbers or whatever because they're doing it well. So
yeah, exactly. What are they doing? How are they doing it? How often are they doing it, etc. And then I'd say the third one, especially when you're starting out, is don't go spending lots of money on it. You don't need to. You can get your phone. The power of free.
The power of free, right?
The power of free. And yeah, make sure that you're doing it consistently rather than just spending lots and lots of money on it, throwing money at the problem. So those my bits.
No, that's some true tips.
I think I had a 4th one in there by accident, but hey,
our fan base only needs 3.
Yeah, you can get another one for free. There we go.
The power of free,
right? The power of free.
It's on the internet. There's loads of tips. Mate, thanks for coming on. It's been enjoyable. It's flown by.
I know, so quick.
I mean, come back again. This is season 2, so let's get you on for season 3.
Love to.
And we'll track that rise of Nested and see how you're getting on.
Thank you so much.
Next time, guys. Cheers.